Okay, good afternoon, folks. Hope everyone is well. Karina, good morning to you. So, my apologies about yesterday. I had a few things. I was kind of in and out yesterday, so I couldn't trade consistently. I did a little bit and then had to stop and nip out and do a few other things. So market is open. Now, I'm looking at this move up, which looks like a bit of a correction. We're back above that EMA. There's a possibility of a long there. Which I actually don't mind.
Order submitted.
There's going to be a bunch of... it's a bit congested. I'm going to leave this. It's a little bit sideways. That's a little bit risky, that is. Push up. Chances are we're going to push out. But I think that's just a little bit risky just at the moment. It's trying to push down. Yeah, okay. So sensible to leave that alone. So it has cleared out a little bit of liquidity there. So is it going to go up? I still think it possibly will. So whether this is a channel with a break, it could be a couple of legs down and then a move up. It's hard to say at the moment. So
order canceled.
Let's just ditch that. So I had a couple of more payments, which I'll talk about in a bit. Just two more. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for two more accounts. So I've taken two more $2,000 payments from TraderFi. So $6,000 in payments over the last week. And there's another couple going to be in the next week or two. Hopefully they'll due a payout as well. So I've also put a payment in for $8,000 for Apex. I did that last night. So I won't be trading those accounts today. So I'll just be trading. Let me have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why am I not trading? Okay. So I'll be just been trading some TraderFi accounts. And we'll see how we get on. And one Apex one. The other 4 are waiting for payment. So let's see if this pushes up. It's hard to say at the moment. We could be something like this. It's always a possibility. So you've got to be careful going along here, just in case. I'm just not super convinced this. If we can get a higher low here, there will be liquidity up there, there, and there, and up here. So it's probably worth going. But that one at the moment, I think, is a touch risky. You may trade it as a fail breaker, actually. So it's actually not that bad, I don't think. Yeah, you probably could trade that as a fail breakout. See if we get a higher low. So 2 legs down.
Order submitted.
I don't think we're going to get higher low. If we get above this, it might push up quick. Then it'll hit that, then that. Yeah, I was tempted to get then in on a limit order there or drop my order, but it never came back, unfortunately. So I just wanted to be a little bit cautious with that, just in case we've had a break and we've made multiple attempts to push up and it may come down for a second leg. But it would have worked that. I am also looking at this range bar again. We had that rough day. I think it was on a Friday. It was just a horrible trading day. The chart was all over the place, but I looked on the range day and it looked super clear. So I am keeping an eye on that. I've got it down here. I'm not trading it. It's not set up to trade. I'm just keeping an eye on it. And what I might do is, it's just on a sim there. What I might do is, if I do see a trade on it, I'm just going to mark it. And then see if it works. I just want to play around with it again. So pushed up, came back. Looks like it's pushing up. There is a higher low, which isn't terrible. But the trouble is, we're so close to the highs, you don't know whether it's going to come back to that EMA. So unfortunately,
order canceled.
We'll leave that alone. So let's just have a look. So yeah, it did work that. In all fairness, as we pushed up, I did expect it to continue up, and yeah, you could treat that as a fell breakout. It is really, isn't it? I'd have just preferred a higher low, but when it pushed up and hung around here, getting it on a limit order is not a bad idea, I don't think. But unfortunately, it just never came back. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I will show you. I usually show you when I get it. So let me just get my trade account up. History. Yes, there you go. So 20th, that was yesterday. So these two yesterday, that was last, well, 4 days ago. So they're all paid now in my account. I do like this. They pay it pretty quick, actually. Usually it takes an hour for them to okay it, and then 24 hours it's in. Yeah, I think it was just about 7 or 8 hours. It went straight into my Rise account. So I've had $6,000 from them. I have got 2 more accounts that are due payment. One of them I took a loss on yesterday, but that's okay. It happens. So hopefully in the next week or two, this should get a couple more there. I put in for $8,000 from Apex. So out of the 5 Apex accounts I've got, breakout pullback. After the 5 Apex accounts I've got, I'm just trading one of them today. The other 4 I'm waiting. They're over 4,000. Those are anyway. So 4,000. I think 4.2, 4.150, 4.3, 4.2, 2.22, something like that. So they're plenty. So what I will do is just trade them on a micro later. Those are the 4 just to count towards the next set of 8 days. So, I mean, it didn't work here. It didn't look too bad on here. The trouble is when we're getting towards the top, we're running out of space. And in all fairness, if traders are riding that up, they're going to be taking profits in this area. So you don't know whether it's just going to come back. But there is a failure here. Now, I'm going to mark this just to see if it works. Where's the rest of reward thing? So it's on 1 to 2 there at the moment. So let's just do so just on a 1 to 1, yeah. So there's a second entry short which is triggered. That's where I'd have got in there. In fact, the trouble is it is close to those highs, isn't it? In fact, it's on those highs there. So yeah, tell a lie, I wouldn't take that. It's into the highs. It's probably going to work. Same again. There's another failure here. Second entry short, which is triggered. Thing is, how much higher is this going to go? That's the trouble. So, yeah, scrub this one. You could have got 8 for break even anyway. So, comfortably. But yeah, I'm going to leave that. I wouldn't take that. Not into the highs. But you comfortably got 8 for break even or break even plus a tick there anyway. So, but yeah, as it's close to the tops, I wouldn't. Now this is interesting. So why is this not working sometimes? It's a pain. Maybe I'm not clicking on it right. So maybe there's something like that. Let's tighten that up a little bit. It's possible. Possible. The trouble is when we're in this bottom section, you've got to be a little careful. So no, I'm not a fan of it actually. Maybe there's something smaller there, but we've pushed up and we haven't quite made a new high. We've got very close. We're about a tick away, I think. So yeah, you could have taken that as a fell breakout. It did work actually. If this was bullish, that would be interesting because you're probably going to have some stops there. And if it gets above there, it'll probably push a little bit higher, I think. It does look like possible 2 legs up. Trouble is, we're going up sideways. So we do seem to be maybe losing a little bit of upwards momentum at the moment. And not only that, there's always the possibility, because we seem to be hitting something, that we end up doing something like that or like that. I'm going to put that there actually, because I have a feeling the way this is coming down, this may rangle it. Could be one leg down, two legs down, and a push up. It's hard to say at the moment, but as we've pushed up into it, I still think the good chance is we're going to push out of it. But sometimes we may rattle around here. So whether we have 1, 2, 3 triple test down here to go long, that wouldn't be a bad option, I think. Yeah, so on this range chart, there is kind of a triple test there. There was a double trap there. So if you went short, trigger just stopped you out. If you went long, trigger just stopped you out. So probably best not do anything at the moment. So let's have a look. So one leg down, two legs up, one leg down. So if this is going to push, this is probably where I'd expect it to. The trouble is we got a tight channel down there. So that's quite strong. So I would prefer a break of this first before I even consider going long. Just in case we didn't come down in legs there. That was quite strong, so it may decide to drop out the bottom. It is a little bit, but it's come down there and cleared out that, which is always a good thing. So no trading for me on Friday, this Friday or Monday. I'm going away for a long weekend. So we've got a break here. Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe it's going to come down and test this area. There's going to be liquidity around there, you can guess, but also here as well, it's quite strong down there. There's a lot of buy orders sat there. 65, which is around about here, a few points in the lows, then 62, 60, maybe 54, 56-ish, something like that. So down here, so maybe this is a leg down, a couple of attempts to push up, and then down it comes. So my gut feeling after looking at this, it's more likely going to come down, certainly below the lows of the day based on what I can see there. So channel break, new low. No entry here, unfortunately. I have reloaded. In fact, these charts look the same. Are they? No, they're not. So I wouldn't go long here at the moment because of these orders down here. Wouldn't be shocked if this thing came back out of this little range here. And there we go. Now let's see what happens here. Yeah, this is just a little straight leg down here. There's no breaks here. There's the break. And then aiming for a new low. So second entry short here wouldn't be a bad option, I don't think. There'll be liquidity. There's going to be down here. So it does look like, based on, as I just mentioned, with all these passive buy orders down here, it's an attractive place to go. So obviously you've got to take into consideration aggressive sellers or buyers. Well, buyers that may not even allow it to get down there. But my guess is, based on what I can see, it's probably going to come down. So we've pushed out this possible little range here. Let's see if we test this top Doesn't look like it's going to. So it's broke below there. So channel break new low. So possible failure. It has pushed up, and it's a tick off that. I wish Apex would speed up these payments. I think the one thing with Apex, they're a little bit behind now, aren't they, with the speed of their payments, hopefully. The good thing about having all these little companies that do things super quick is it does put pressure on the other prop firms to sort of do like for like. It's definitely attractive to not have to wait. The trouble is, when you're waiting for a payment to approve, there's always that little bit of nerves. Now, I can't, I think I'm pretty sure I traded all these pretty straightforward after the last denial. I knew I was going to get denied because I accidentally opened my accounts on 10 contracts just for a couple of seconds before I realised. So I had a fair feeling that was going to happen. But, it happens. But even so, when you're sitting waiting for a little bit of money, you kind of don't want to be sat waiting. Do you? You want it done so you can get on with it and move on. So we've dropped out there. We've made a couple of attempts to push up. We couldn't get up. EMA is clearly pointing down. So my guess is it's going to test these, and based on what Bookmap's going to telling me that this thing's likely going to break these lows here. So that's what I'm thinking. Unfortunately, there's just no setup. We push up to the EMA, we cross over, and then literally we get a full bearish bar straight down. Now, there is a couple of, see that range chart there? There is a couple of little, what I like about it is we get two bull bars, red bar triggers above, comes down, we get two more bull bar, red bar triggers it above again, which is clearly two legs. Now, we have made a new low here, but that doesn't, not so much of an issue, but we've clearly got two attempts to push up, so you may want to trade that as on a range. So I'd be going for a 3-point risk, 3-point profit there, which it's done. So I like the idea of this one-to-one. The reason I've started looking at this range chart again is just because of the size of the ATR lately. I think Friday the bars were 4, 5, 6 points. Some of them, it's just too much. And it's hard to trade them when you trade in the lowest you can on the minis anyway. So I do like the idea of this. You can more or less, you can adjust that range bar to set, to adjust your risk. But my experience is, based on what the ATR is, I think it's a good idea to follow that. So the ATR at the moment is basically 3. And that's what the range is as well, 12 ticks. So I think it worked quite well. If the ATR is 3 on the 2000 tick chart, which we trade, and you adjust that to about 3 points. But the good thing is, tick above, tick below, you know exactly what your risk is before you take your trade. So, and it's ideal that. And what you can do as well, much easier as well, is to go onto micros, and then you can sort of literally micro adjust to get your risk. I have considered reducing my risk a little bit. When I was getting closer to payments, I was getting quite nervous to take trades, which usually is a good indicator of you're risking too much. So I was just having a play around over the weekend with maybe 5 micros and risking something like $70, $80. The good thing there is if you get a good setup, a good clear setup, you could kind of hold on and try and run with it a little bit. At least your risk is quite small. But when I'm risking $150 minimum, I kind of want to get in and get out. So that's the kind of downside with risking too much. Your nerves when you're in a trade. And I think sometimes you're better off reducing your risk till your nerves go. And at least then, if you do see a good, strong setup, you could at least try and run with it. Or at least with micros, you can, it'd be easy to sort out, a runner if you get, 8 micros and a couple in a runner or something like that, and scalp out 6. So you've got options with So channel with a break, 2 pushes down to a new low. We've made a new low by 1 tick. I assume we were going to test that. We did. I thought we may push a little bit lower because we've got a lot of these buy orders sat down here from 65, which is where we've been. There is some more there, but majority of them are around about 62 to sort of over 5, 6 or 7 points, somewhere around about down here. So this may come down some more, but we have had quite a strong bounce there and a reasonable price up. So, sorry, a reasonable move up. So, let's call that like that for now. I think that's very much, you could just say it's just bounced off range bottoms, which is why it's pushed up so strong. So we may get a pullback and get up here. So I've got a quick question for you guys. This is Traderify, which I have my 5 this is Tradeovate, which I have my 5 Traderify accounts through. There's my accounts. If I select this and click exit all positions, it only exit positions from one account, I believe. That account ending in 808. Is there any way I can get this to exit positions in all my accounts? Whether there's managed groups and whether I group them, I'm not too sure really, but what I don't want to do is once last week I jumped out of a trade early and that's the first time it's happened, one of my Traderify accounts didn't close. The trouble is you've then got to look for your Traderify account, figure out which one it is, go into here, select that one, and then go and close the position. So it'd be nice to have to be able to exit everything from all accounts. That would just save a little bit of time. But I am looking into, I keep getting emails from the guys at Affordable Indicators. They're actually offering me free use of it. But as I've said to you before, I won't advertise something just for the sake of having an affiliate or something like that. If I don't use it or I don't think it's any good, I'm not going to put it on my chart. But I did see a video a couple of weeks ago, and they've got a new feature on it now. So when a trade is closed, it checks again and closes any trades that may still be open. I like that. It's kind of like a backup, because the less you've got to do when a trade closes, the better. At the moment, see, I'm looking at trade positions on here, which is the positions tab on Rhythmic. And I'm also, looking on Tradeovate as well. So I've got multiple things to do when an account closes. So ideally, it makes perfect sense if it closes everything and then just puts another close order in, because sometimes you get these, what they call ghost orders, where one opens it in the other direction. I'd say it happens probably 1 in every 3 times I take a trade. I thought upgrading my computer to something a bit newer and a bit quicker may speed things up and help that process. But it doesn't seem to have made any difference. So I am going to, when I get back from this weekend, I am going to download that Affordable Indicators and have a play around with it. There's another feature it's got as well. So if you're taking an evaluation, it's an Apex evaluation, and the profit is over 3 grand, it knows that's passed and it won't allow you to trade it again. So I like that. It's got some cool little features. So I'm going to have a look at that and have a play around with it. And if I think it's better, I'll use it. Now, don't get me wrong, I like Replicanto, but at the end of the day, I know the guy from Replicanto as well. I've chatted to him probably a dozen or so times. He's a nice chap. But at the end of the day, you've got to think about your trade. And if there's something that's going to keep you from losing money a little bit better, then I think it's useful. I may, in fact, drop the guy a message and see if it would, if he could put something like that, some kind of feature which closes when an account closes, it puts another close order in a second later. At least that way, if you do have any other trays still open, it will exit them positions without you having to start messing around trying to figure out what account it is, and so on. So at the moment, it does just look like it's ranging. Now we know we got buy orders down here. Some of them have been yanked, actually. I'm not surprised when that pushed up. You can see a lot of them have gone. There was a big thick order down here that was taken away. Price didn't get down to 60, so they were yanked. So there are some at 62, there are some at 60, and that looks around about the 56 area. So you would still think that, you know, price would drag that down. Obviously, it also depends on if we get a lots of aggressive buyers at current price, it may not get down there. So it is, as it happens, coming down now. So we've pushed through some of these orders. So there is some at 60, and then obviously the 56 area. So I think there's a fair chance this will come down certainly to 60. You know, 60 is comfortably below all this anyway, and this area here. So, but whether it decides to have another pullback first before it drops, that's another thing. So, whether there is something like that or not, I'm not too sure really. It's just mainly ranging at the moment. So the good thing about Bookmap, as I say, it keeps me out of a trade, and I don't think it's a great place to take a long here. You may think triple test. Now, it may be a pullback. If it is working down, it may pull back. But with those orders sat down there right below here, I don't want to get caught out by going long and then it comes down and picks his orders. So as long as there's enough orders sat down here, it will keep me out of a long trade, regardless of whether I think, you know, it's a good looking one. So you've got a little bull bar there. It's a tick. It's a little doji, but it's a tick off a high. So it's tempting to buy there. There is a second entry long, but with those orders down there, I'm sitting tight, but it did work. It's actually quite a small risk as well. So, wow, look at that. Tick above, tick below, and it's a 0.5 risk. So you may want to take that just for the hell of it. Now, as I say, I think price is likely to come further, but you can see as we're coming down, we are having these pullbacks. So you may get enough of a pullback there to push up there to get yourself a bit of profit there. It clearly worked, but my gut feeling is it could still continue down. Excuse me a sec. Okay, so there is a possible higher low here. I'm not taking it. I'm waiting. My gut feeling is price is going to come down some more. So let me just pop some money in my daughter's account. Little Hammer, how you doing, bud? Yes, mate. I'll show in a sec. Yeah, price looks like it's coming down for me. I'm waiting on 8,000 from Apex, but these are history. These are the ones I've got from Traderify. They're the 20th, so they were yesterday. So I put in for the payment yesterday. It was approved in an hour. and paid in about 7 or 8 hours. So that's in my bank now. So there's 6,000. So that's the first payment I've had for a little over 3 months. I've still got 2 more accounts plus the remainder of these left. So hopefully those two, there'll be another 4,000 over the next week or so. And there's an Apex one for 8,000 as well that I'm waiting on. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. I mean, just like anybody else, I have my fair share of ups and downs. You know, it's not smooth running by any means. You know, I had things were going really well, leading sort of up to Christmas, and then I had January, February, March, April, and May. I had 5 months in a row that I think it was around about 33,000. I'd had over 5 months from something like 9 accounts. So things were going really well. Now, I'll say that trading to me is like professional sports in the way that you've constantly got to be on your game, and it's quite stressful, and you are liable to have a meltdown from time to time. The more you do it, I think the less it happens. But after those payments, I did kind of feel that I'm getting close to screwing up. You know what I mean? I just felt a bit worn out. It's hard to say really, but I just felt I'd kind of overstayed my welcome, so to speak. And I remember trading with my accounts and something happened. I can't remember what was going on. There was something going on at home that I was a little stressed about, and I'd had a couple of losses in a row, and the market was a bit hard and a bit frustrating. And what I probably should have done is taken a few days off, which I didn't. And I ended up, just for a second, I had a little panic moment, moved my stop. Market came against me, $400, moved it again, and within a space of 5 seconds, I was $800 in the red. Now, the sensible thing would have been to done there is to cut my losses, but the trouble is, you guys will probably get where I'm coming from. Once it comes against you so far, you're kind of in a spiral. Because obviously the more it's going against you, the more you're panicking, and you kind of, you know, it's kind of that step that, oh, just get me back into break even and I'll get out of it. You know, you kind of panic, and we kind of wish we were somewhere else, you know what I mean? But it happened, and I ended up blowing my accounts. And I'd say for the next month, I was buying accounts, blowing them, buying and blowing them, just purely out of frustration. And then I think once I kind of got it out of my system, I came to the realization that, look, you know, I've lost them. They're not here. There's no point in spending another month or 2 months just out of frustration. So I got some accounts, and I just had to play the game. And I did. And, you know, I ended up now, because I saw sense, played the game, I eventually got to payment. So it does show you that when you take your time and just wait for trades, you will get there. It's easier said than done. It's not easy, but it does take time. But once you kind of get to that realization that when you play the game properly, you get rewarded, you start doing it more and more. So it's okay to mess up. It doesn't feel good, but it's okay to mess up. You're only human, and the worst thing you can do is punish yourself. And we've all heard the term self-sacrifice, and we all know exactly what it means. And I'm guessing I've certainly been there many times. You kind of mess up, and then you kind of say to yourself, well, it's my own stupid fault. Let's go all in now. And if I lose, it's my own stupid fault. I deserved it. And you kind of, it is a bit of an odd concept, but it's a very real one. But surprisingly, my accounts grew quicker than I thought. It felt like they were slow, but I got to $3,000 in about 2.5 months. So it's not actually that slow. That it's, for me, if you can average $1,000 per account over a month, and you times that by 10, 20, 30 accounts, there's plenty of money. So you don't need to go for huge goals. But it did seem to take forever. But unfortunately, with prop trading, when you start at zero. So if someone gave you $50,000 of real money and said, put that on your trading account, you've got money and you can start earning it. But with a prop firm, you've actually got to, you start from zero and you've got to make money before you can use that money to start making a payment. But the trouble is, because you start from zero, there's a possible second entry short here. Because you start from zero, you've kind of got nothing to lose. So when you've got nothing to lose, same again, the tendency is to take a risk. So, I mean, prop firms are great in the sense that it does give you access to capital, but they can also be your worst nightmare in a strange way, because you start with nothing. You know, you got nothing to lose. What do? You tend to take risks. So it's kind of a catch-22, isn't it, really? You've got the opportunity, but when you start from zero and you pay so little for these evaluations, you know, you kind of set up in a way to fail, really. And that's nothing personal to the prop firm. You know, prop firms are out there to make money. If you think, if you think any other way, you're kind of naive, really. That's just, the way they are. Absolutely, they force you to over leverage. It's just, prop firms are there to make money. They're not there to make your life easy. They're not there to make your dreams come true. They're making their own future, just like we are. But you've got to kind of fall. It's like being a child, really. When you're a kid, you run in, you're not looking where you're going, and you fall over and you crack your nut a few times, and then you start to realize. And it's, it's the same with most things in life. You kind of learn from your mistakes. Well, hopefully we learn. But because of, the nature of trading, because it includes so many emotions, it does take a lot longer. But once you've had a taste of trading, you know what it's about. It does take way longer than I ever thought it did, to be honest with you. I thought I'm going to be something special and I'm going to crack it quicker than most. No, I think I've taken longer than most, because I'm a bit stubborn, I think. And I thought I'll throw money on it and do it my way and I'll win. And I didn't. But you've got to be self-critical. If you think you kind of know it all and you'll fight back, you're in for a rough ride. You really have got to be humble, and you've just got to let the market dictate. You really have. You're never going to beat the markets. All you can do is sit there, wait for an offer in, and grab hold of it. And that's it. Market gives you an offer and you take it. If it doesn't, you can't squeeze it. It doesn't matter. You could be the best trader in the world. The market is not going to make life any easier for you. It really isn't. Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think over time you do start to realize that, but it does take a long time. I mean, I've never had a job really that involves any kind of stress or emotions. As I say, for me, it feels what I would imagine to be like a professional sportsman. It's talk about people like Roger Federer, the tennis player, and Djokovic and Andy Murray and all those. If they're not on their game and their head isn't right, they'll lose. So it's about channeling in and focusing. And obviously, the more you do it, the better you become at it. But, we all have bad days, but, you're never going to avoid that. Some days, I've taken trades and I've got at a break even. They would have gone against me. So I've had a little bit of luck. And some days where I've taken a poor trade and it's just happened to have gone in my favor and I've had a bit of luck. But then occasionally you'll miss your profit by one tick and get stopped out. So, it does kind of swing both ways, really. If that's a bit of there is a lower high there, but as we're testing this, I'm not sure. I'm just going to sit tight a minute. But I think it's how you react to those days, which will either keep you in the game or kick you straight out of it. And we've all felt what that's like. So, it's just like anything. In time, doing the same thing again, you'll naturally get better at it. Oversize it is. The trouble is, it's so cheap to do it. And that's the problem. If you've got something that costs a lot of money, you'll value it. And me with my Traderfy accounts, that's a perfect point. I traded my Apex silly, but once I'm paying $350 for a Traderfy account, you've got to respect that a little bit more, because that can be quite, you can't burn a lot of those like you can an evaluation. So you've got to be a bit sensible, and it worked for me. So I am looking into Lucid, actually. It's another one I've not tried, but Lucid I think is very, very similar to Traderfy. I think the only negative thing about Traderfy is it's a 90-10 split from the get-go, whereas Apex, I think you can earn $25,000 per account first. So I thought I was getting $6,000. I actually got $600 shaved off the top, but you know, that's the price of doing business, is it? But someone said to me, the first $10,000 you get all of it. It's not the case. But I'm in profit with Traderfy. I've made more money than I've paid. And that's relatively quick. I've only been using them 3 months. So whereas Apex took me a lot longer to get to break even. Yeah, oversizing is a big problem, isn't it? Unfortunately, it's kind of the way human beings react, isn't it? Things don't go well, we tend to just kind of jump in a little bit kind of gung-ho, don't we? That's why I think women make better traders, because they're generally, I mean, I have seen some quite aggressive females over my time, one or two, but for mostly, if you go out around the pubs and clubs of certain places in the UK, one of them is the northeast around Newcastle. On a Friday and Saturday night, you'll see all the guys tanked up with a belly full of beer, beating the living daylights out of each other, and their girlfriends and wives are trying to drag them apart. So the women generally are the calmer of the two. So I think that that just by definition would make them calmer and less likely to jump in. So we got a channel here with a break, 2 attempts to push up. Now that is a triple test. My only slight concern is we've bounced off this bottom. So, and it's a little bit congested. So I'm just going to be a little bit careful here. We have pushed up and we've kind of bounced a bit. So that lower high stroke triple test got triggered and pushed straight out, stopped out. So it's a little bit, that's why, you know, so experience for me, you notice areas like that where something doesn't feel quite right. I mean, you may think triple test channel, triple test coming down. Absolutely, I get that. But it's going a bit sideways and we've already bounced off here once. So that to me feels a little bit too good to be true. So, you know, experience over time keeps you out of certain trades. So the women are lethal up here. I went out once. I think I was up in Washington in the Northeast, not to be confused with the US version. I went up there to work with a friend for a couple of days, and I went out on the town one night, and yeah, the young lads were beating living there. There were a few women as well, which they go out and they get paralytic, and they, yeah. I think it's the same wherever you go, really. I just picked Newcastle because it's just one thing that popped to mind. But yeah, but I mean, you know, generally as a rule, you know, guys are fueled with testosterone, aren't they? And we do tend to jump before we speak, don't we, so to speak? So, but there's very few people. If I look on my Geordie show, I have watched bits of it in the past. Yeah, I have. What was I saying? Say something. I can't remember. I've gone blank. Oh well, it'll come to me. I know what it was. If I look on my all the what's it called? The analytics, which give you all the data related to your YouTube channel, male, female, you know, what part of the world, people are from. I think it was less than 1%. Less than 1% women that watch this channel. So that must be the same for trading in general. So it's a very, very small amount. Now, but if you look at YouTube, there are quite a few women traders, aren't there? Whether they're just more inclined to kind of like the YouTube side of it, but there are quite a few actually. There are quite a few trades by Tanya we know. Who's the other girl? Jess as well. Trades by Jess. That's another one. The other one who's had battles, running battles with Nutty. I forget her name now. She comes over quite nice. And there's another one as well. The other young girl. But there's quite a few actually. Can't think of the names now, but there are quite a few. So I know, generally as a rule, when young families, young people have kids, usually as a rule, for the most, I think, the women stay at home a lot with the kids while they're young. So I think it would be a kind of an ideal possibility to learn to trade. Having said that, kids can obviously take a lot of your time. So maybe that's probably not an ideal example, but yeah. Social media, yeah, I mean, so I've been streaming now. Next month it'll be for 3 years, and I think, Karina, you've been around for most of it, I think, haven't you? Just trying to think. There's been one or two others. There was a couple, a married couple that used to come in from time to time. So that was another one. There was also a girl from the UK who lives not far from me, 50 miles or so from me. But apart from that, it's not really that much. Perhaps I'm just a bit boring and I don't attract the females so much, maybe. I don't know. Or they want the young guys. I'm a little bit older. But yeah, it is still a very small portion of the population that don't trade in. Yeah, it's still quite small. Yeah, kids do take up a lot of your time, don't they? They kind of take over, especially for those first 3 years. Well, the first 3 months of my daughter, she's 17 now, but the first 3 months was just kind of a blur. Goes that quick because you don't sleep much, do you? I remember sitting up in bed, winding them, waiting for that magical burp so you could go back to sleep. I was talking about that yesterday. But they do take up a lot of time, kids, definitely. But I thought things would get older get easier as kids get older, actually. I think it's kind of hard work. My 17-year-old's kind of hard work. It's £20 nearly every day. £20 here, £20 there. Most of it's spent on coffees in Starbucks and Costa and stuff like that. And I was a young teenager. It wasn't really the craze of the coffees. We had a milky coffee. That was kind of it, really. But never had the lattes and the cappuccinos and all the frappuccinos that cost an arm and a leg like you've got now. But so anyway, I thought this certainly going to come down to 60, which it did. I thought it would come a little bit lower, but if you look at this, we are kind of ranged at the moment. So there is still orders sat down there, but 60 went. There was some a little bit lower as well, but that got yanked. But there is some sat there. I suppose if we are ranging, you drop an order down here and leave it. If it comes down and gets you, happy days. Yeah, it is. Also, as well, I found because I work from home, teenagers all get to that age where they start developing their vocal cords. And they can be quite stressful around. So, having a stressful life and learning to trade is tough to do the two together. So if you are, one thing I will say to any maybe less experienced traders, I can't emphasize enough how important it is to take a break. And when I say a break, I don't mean just not trade, but spend the whole day looking at someone else trading. You need to completely get away and completely shut down your screens, whether it be your TV screens. And it's something I've done very, very little of, really. And I think I've paid the price for it. But I did feel quite stressed in the week for some reason. I just felt like I needed a break. So straight away, I decided to book 3 nights away with my wife, which is going to be this weekend. So it is important to take a break because you need to clear your mind. I don't know why you don't stream, Karina. I think you'd be good at it. I say not everyone wants to. Some people just want to keep it quiet and they just want to focus what they're doing. I think you'd be good at it, Karina. I do. I suppose most other women out there seem to be relatively successful. The ones on YouTube, well, that's certainly how that comes over. I think Jess, trades by Jess, she's had a few payments lately. But, it's good to see other people because you can see their struggles as well. So we all go through that same level of frustration. The new girl that's been, let me just find her, that's been putting videos out. She's not been out that long, but she's been putting videos out for a while. This girl here, she started. I don't think she's been going that long. I don't think. But she talks very much about. Let me have a look. Older. So how long has she been going for? Yeah, only a couple of months. So she talks a lot about blowing accounts, about keeping from her husband how much she's been spending. We've all done that. I certainly have. Not that I want to necessarily keep anything. I just don't want to worry her. But she talks a lot about that, losing control, and so on and so forth. But there's so much about blowing accounts, that horrible feeling. So if you are relatively new, and these are worth, she's worth watching, but she talks quite candidly about her struggles, which we all have. It's just some of us, don't talk about it. Yeah, trading while married. She asks, I think, her husband questions. Do I suck at trading? So all these things go through your mind, going on tilt. Interesting to look. So have a view of a few of those. It's always nice to hear other people and their struggles. It kind of makes you realise it's not just you. So if that is a channel there, that does look like an overshoot. We made a new high from these 2 previous highs and then dropped. So that looks like an overshoot. So it may come down. But as we've had this break out the bottom, my gut feeling is we'll get one at the top. Now, we have a small one, but I don't think that's enough for me. So I think my personal view is we're going to get something like that, somewhere and about there. Now, with an overshoot and that strong move down, we may not, but I don't think that's enough of a breakout for me. We'll see. Now, Thomas Way's got that, and he's a... Oh, no, tell a lie, he has. So, Thomas Way's got that as an overshoot. So, he's kind of more or less got the same thing, really. Yeah. So, I still expect 2 legs, but I still think it's more than likely going to come up. Yeah, Apex is taking a little longer at the moment to process payments for some reason. I don't know why. I'm surprised we haven't heard from someone in Apex. Usually they'll keep us updated with any new things that are in the pipeline. I know think it was last or the time before last that they came out and put a video out there. They were talking about straight to funded. I think it's certainly, people are finding it attractive. I certainly am. I do like the idea of straight to funded. I find evaluations for me just frustrating. Now, that's, that's not too rubbish evaluations. They certainly play a part, certainly for newer traders, that's for certain. But I much prefer straight to funded. It's quicker, and sometimes when you're trading them fast and blowing them, it does frustrate you, and sometimes that can go into your that can get taken into your trading day. So I much prefer straight to funded. So maybe that's as much as we're going to get out the top. This looks like it's on its way down now. So triple test up here at the top. I didn't like the bar there really because of the overshoot, but here, nice bar at the top, that worked. Now, if we come from the bottom, there's also a failure there. Second entry short triggered failure, stroke higher low. If you took that one or the higher low, it all worked. Same again there as well. Second entry. Oh no, that's the one I just talked about. So failure there. I don't really want to be going short into this. Having said that, looking at these three bars here, they're going to contain liquidity as we've pushed up and bounced. So maybe that'd work. I'm not taking that anyway. Usually you got to get out before the lows. You're already below the lows there. So what I don't want to get is for it to trigger that and then have two legs up. Stop that. It's just moved too far for me. That and the bar isn't fantastic. But there is liquidity, and if it starts to tap into this now, it may not come back. So we had a little drop below there. That's what I mean. Once it starts to go and starts to eat these up, if it gets enough momentum, it'll come straight through them. So that one, it did. It just had a quick drop below. So whether we get a pullback here, once it hits there, that'll be another area I would have said. Two legs back, strong bull bar. So we're below there now. I don't know where my price line's gone. It's disappeared for some reason. It's here, but it's disappeared from here. And my counter's gone as well. Okay, I know why. I know why. I was playing around with a tick chart, wasn't I? Let's just duplicate that. What's in here? Why am I not getting my text showing? Okay. I don't like those things. Displacement. Let's do that. 40. What is that? Spread lines. That's what I want to get rid of. Okay, text. What's the text? Okay, I need to shove that over to the right a little bit. Right days. Like that. That'll do. Okay, let's get rid of that. Channel break, new low. There is a bullish bar there. I'm just not sure at the moment. I've still got orders down here at 60 below there, so maybe this may be the new bottom. It's hard to say. As we didn't really get much of a breakout there, this may be the new bottom, so it could come a bit lower. So I'm just going to sit tight a minute. What's that thing? Can't remember how to push it. Oh my God, heaven, what is flipping going on now? Overlay. That's what I don't want. Let's keep it to the right. I can't figure out how to push that to the right. So channel break, new high. Want 2 pushes up really, so this is Mac's chart at the moment. So he's got that pretty much the same as I have. He's got that account up there. Sorry, account that channel up there. So the only difference is he's brought that up a little bit, and that's at the top. So he's got that there. And this. Okay, I'm just going to take a few minute break. I'm going to make a cup of tea. Trying to give us a little bit of time. Figure out exactly. Trouble is, I'm just not a fan of these types of markets, especially when they kind of hit different levels. But there you go. So I'm going to make a quick cup of tea, and I'll be back in about 3 to 5 minutes. Right. See what happens when we get up here. So leg and a leg. Okay, almost 2 legs. Getting close to overnight highs. Not sure whether this is all-time highs actually, is it? No, we're a bit above you. To go. Yeah, we're about 25 points below all-time highs. It's starting to look bullish, isn't it? We've had this big 2 legs up, pull back, 1, 2, 3 attempts and a good strong move. So I don't think it'd be long before we get into all-time highs, whether it's today or whether it's before. I don't think it'll be long. Okay. 2 legs up, perfect measured move. Probably to about the tick I'd have suggested there. Yeah, actually, that's right to the tick. So, overnight highs here. So I'll be surprised if it doesn't at least attempt to break that overnight high. So it is 2 legs up, and after that, you'd expect it to come back to that AMA. Okay, quick shove up, ticked above it. So overnight highs are broken. Now let's see. So yeah, all-time highs are up here somewhere. So most breakouts fail. So we've had that breakout there. We pushed up. So is this going to fail? You sent me a Discord from... I probably had loads of those, to be honest with you, because where is Discord? I didn't realise I was getting them. So if you have sent me a friend request on Discord and I haven't... It's not that I... excuse me. It's not that I'm ignoring you. I see yours now, yeah. Got you. It's all right. I had loads of them. Yeah, I look pending. I didn't realise I was getting them, to be honest. There's nothing... I can't move it. Yeah, I didn't realise I was getting them. I'm going to have to... some of them, that's Chris from Apex. He used to work at Apex. He doesn't anymore, I don't think. In fact, I was chatting with him briefly yesterday. So if you are on this list, Russell, we know you, don't we? Shall I just do them all? We've done Ukraine, haven't we? Half of them are probably a year or two old. Okay, there's a failure there. Trouble is, it's a little bit down, across and down. You'd expect that. I'd expect to break below there and hit that AMA. It's an easy... There is a second entry long there. I wouldn't take that. For me, that's got risk written all over it. But the fact that we're clearly doing this, I'm sitting tight. So on this second chart, there is a second entry long. Now, that to me is just got... Well, there you go. That to me has got trap written all over it, because it's floating in the middle of nowhere, and that's exactly what it did. It triggered above it, it shot straight down and took it out. So I used to get caught in those all the time, them second entry longs, but because it's floating in the middle of nowhere, you've got to avoid it. Now, I'm not saying 2 legs down you couldn't go long here, but my honest opinion at the moment is because we've broken out of this, it may come back in. So leg down, across and leg down. So let's see if this triggers. I wouldn't take a long gear, to be honest with you. I would expect the long to get trapped, but it's hard to say. You just never know. You never quite know whether it's just going to absolutely take off. But as it's clearly going sideways, I think that the chances are it will probably come in a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's in a rush to, does it? Big bull bar there, but it's not on that EMA. But what it is doing, it's sat nicely on there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches. So it is sitting on there quite confidently. I wouldn't take it at the moment because it is going sideways. I don't know whether this thing's going to take off or whether it's going to come back in there. I really don't know at the moment. So I wouldn't trade this. I would say I think it's got more likely that bull bar is going to get stopped out, but it is a leg down sideways and a leg down, so it may take off. Who knows? Toss of a coin at the moment for me. Usually breakouts fail, and we're clearly going sideways, so it has broken out. So that would tell you it's probably going to come down. But then it is 2 legs down, and if it holds for long enough, it may take off. How you doing, Paul? So the range chart. So there's a few guys in the stream maybe 6 months ago talking about the range, right? So I don't know if you know anything about it. So what it basically is, I've got it set on 12. Now the 12, which means every bar is 12 ticks. So the good thing about this is it does clear up some of the noise. And you know every single bar is going to be 12 ticks. So it's much easier to manage your risk. You know, if you wanted to risk, say, 3 points, you know, with a tick above, tick below, you could set your range bar to 10 ticks. Tick above, tick below, that will give you a 3-point risk. I think this works best when the tick counter is close to the ticks on here. So let's say 2 1/4. That would bring that down to about 10. But yeah, what it does is it does get out a lot of the noise. So it can it can catch you out sometimes, but it is much easier to read. For instance, if you look at this, we've got the move down, 2 attempts push up, and it clearly worked. 2 bull bars, triggered above, came down, 2 bull bars, triggered above. But I've got caught out sometimes, so I've messed around with this on and off for a while. Can you say measurement channels that you'd be doing max stuff, but it's easy? Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it can look really well. And what I will say is I looked at this. What was the day we had a really strong trend and the bars were massive? Trouble is, a lot of trending markets on a 2000 tick chart, you can get a massive 150 point move up, but you won't get much in the way of patch setups. But on a really strong trending day, sorry, not range, trending day, range bars can be really good because so many times, you know, we'll push up. Let me just see if I can find a. No, I can't go back that far at the moment. But if you look at this, for instance, you can clearly see. Now, we did make a new high there, but you can clearly see 2 little legs back, and then it took off. You know what I mean? We push up, we pull back, we push up, we pull back. So this is a lot easier to read. You have to learn to use it because it's not kind of without its, you know what I mean? We got a little bit of sideways there, and then we had a higher low there. And you can imagine there's going to be liquidity, and it took off. So I started looking at this more when I think it was with all the tariffs at the beginning of the year, because they were like 8 to 10. The ATR was 8 to 10. Well, that's ridiculous. You either had to go on to micros, which I think we did at the time. But it is much easier to read this, but there is still a bit of a learning curve, but it does filter out a lot of the crap, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, if you look at this, the bars they're all green, but they're all kind of different sizes, and whereas this, it's much clearer. So I like the look of this, but there is a bit of a learning curve. But I love the fact that I can switch this on to micros, and I can switch this on to micros, and I know I'm risking 3 points per 3-point risk per contract. I think it works out at something like $16.50. So if you wanted to risk a little bit less and have more control over it, I mean, micros is an option anyway, but so I'm just kind of looking at this a little bit more just to sort of get more of a feel for it. But it does look, it's much more aesthetic, isn't it? You've got to say. But you know, I find it works well when it's in conjunction with this. So at the moment, let's call this 10 ticks on average, 2.25 points. So that would 10 tick range bar. And I think it kind of works better. So it's just something to have a play around with. Just follow. Yeah, it's kind of self-explanatory when you look at it, isn't it? You know what I mean? We're looking for shorts coming down here, and you can, how nice does that look? You can see the 2 bull bars, can't you, there? 2 bull bars, triggered above it, came right down. Stop that out. 2 bull bars, triggered it. When that bar comes down, you have to think it's going to stop that out. So it's, you know, when I started using it, I thought this is too good to be true. I remember talking to Marco about it, and we were going to have a conversation one night, but I was away at the time, having a family meal, but he stopped using it and I did. I can't remember why, really. But you do get more setups on this, whereas this, it's just, a lot of the time it's that messy, you kind of lose confidence in it, and you let a lot of it go by, whereas this, it kind of explains a lot of the mess, if you know what I mean, for want of a better word. So, yeah. It's, if you want to, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the words, keep your risk the same every trade you take. That's a general guideline from professional traders. Now, it's impossible to do trading pats, because every single bar, you never know whether it's going to be 2 points or 6 points. You know, depending on how it looks, you could have a small bar like this, or you could have a large bar like this. And that's the trouble. You can't manage your risk when you don't know what size your signal bar is going to finish at. Whereas this, much better. So for managing risk, definitely worth looking at. If you can, there, like with anything, there is a bit of a learning curve, but when you look at it, you wouldn't think much, would you? So I'm just kind of getting a feel for it because, some days you just don't get setups here. And I'm pretty sure I can see a setup on here at least one a day. So I think pretty sure I marked the chart from last week on a strong trending day we had, and I got to say it looked beautiful. The legs back just looked absolute textbook, kind of like this really. We had a big strong move down, a couple of legs back, and then it went down again. But it's not a magic bullet, but it does kind of. It's much easier to read, but as I say, you still can get caught out. I think in conjunction with the EMA, which I haven't got on here at the moment. I'm not quite sure why. I think I've got one on here somewhere. So I should put one on there. Yeah, it has. Make it a different colour. Yeah, you can kind of see how it kind of works very similar. You can see it cut the bottom off there, so it does kind of work. But just if you look at this now, I love taking trades when the bar does that. It doesn't look any better than that. We pushed above the EMA, we closed on its low, and it's hugging the underside. The same with that, and more or less that as well. How nice is that? You can clearly see we got one leg up and then a second. Now we have made a new low, but that doesn't always make a difference. The fact that we made a new low, every time we kind of do, if we're trending up, we make a new high. Every time we trend down, we make a new low. But you can just see what's happening there with those bars, can't you? I mean, these are a little bit far away. But when it does come back to that EMA, they can really look sweet. I mean, look at that. That one worked. I wouldn't take that one, but what I will say is I always like to think, if I'm taking a trade, I always like to think, have I got traders trapped? And this second push up, you have to think that. So it does make a difference. I think it's always important to look, have I got traders trapped? Would I want to take this myself? And if the answer is no, then chances are you've got traders trapped. When you eat their stops, that always gives you that little bit more momentum. So I kind of like, if I'm coming down and I can see, like, as this pushed down, my gut feeling it was going to clear all this out. And it's exactly what it did. Broke below there and then took off. Yeah, so there's not really much you can do here at the moment. So bull bar there, more or less a bull bar. That's pushed down, taken out that, taken out that. We've got it's not quite gone as low as there. I'd like to see it because we've had two little legs back and it has triggered, but it's gone sideways. So I think there's a good chance it comes down and clears that. At least then that will give it, if there's traders buying this, you like to think that's when they are. And funnily enough, if I look at where's buy orders here, down here, at around about 81, which is where price is now, below liquidity. Because what you don't want to do is enter a trade and then have it come back to clear this liquidity. You're better off getting back. We've all heard that Paul, what's his name? John Mark Paul, something like that. Talk about instead of putting your order there, put your order where your stop would have been, which would have been down here. So, I have an indicator that works well with range bars to show you when the next bar will form. Well, if you look here, this kind of does it anyway, because I know with a 12 range bar, this bar has got to hit 12 ticks before it moves. And I can see exactly how big that bar is. You see what I mean? It's 4 ticks at the moment. When it gets to 12 ticks, I know if it goes a tick higher or lower, it's going to be. So it kind of does the same thing. So that bar's 12 now. So they are one below it, it'll move, or one above it, it'll move. This is coming down, isn't it? Strong. So yeah, it does the same thing. It just tells me what the current bar is. So this to me looks like it's losing traction now. Let's see if we get a pullback. I don't think we will. It drops down strong. Liquidity really around here is going to be below here, I'd say. So you can see there is support along there. Resistance rather, so that's bounced off the top of it. But if we get a second entry short around here somewhere, that might not be an option. I can't figure out how to move that over to the right a little bit more. I'm sure it's just, I got to open it really wide to split them apart. Can't take anything here really. Text alignment left. We need a second entry short here. We haven't got one at the moment. That's interesting. The tendency is to see that move and jump in. That's what I used to do. And sometimes it'll do that, trigger and push straight up. You could argue that's a hidden second entry short there. Very tempting, that is. finish naff anyway. Another leg up there above this, ideally. Or be a second entry short then. Come on, push up. Come on. See, sometimes when it gets closer there and you clearly see it's a leg down, it just doesn't get back. A lot of times it'll just drop. I don't think it'll push up. I hope it does, but I just think it's just going to drop. Come on. Okay, I'm going to get an order ready.
Order submitted.
If we get above here and then finish bearish, that'd be ideal, I think. Channel with a break. No. You wouldn't confuse this as a channel up, in my opinion. You're going to have bulls there and here, so this might not be a terrible trade. I prefer a failure, really. So I may just let this go by. God, this is annoying me. Tempted to take that. I'm just going to hold back a bit. Didn't quite get to that EMA. I think it will drop down, but channel with a break. I just have to let that go.
Order cancelled.
Come on, push up. If we get a strong bear bar up here, we could get a good second leg down. So if this looks right, I may hold on to this. Come on, get up a bit higher. So looking at bookmap, there's orders just under that 82 level, which is where I'd expect them to be. Right there. In fact, it's about 82, which is perfect. Right where you want it to be. It's about there. Let's have a look. Maybe a bit lower, say 1.5-ish. So about there, which is above there and above there. So if we can get close to that, 2 legs up, that'd be perfect. Gone a little short there. So there and there. Look where that finishes, that second leg. Beautiful. If we get above there, if we get above here, that'll stop out some shorts. If we get above there, it may well hit that, which is 2 legs up and a bearish buyer. I'll try and ride that down for sure. That's one of the few trades I'd hold on. Now, whether it'll get there or not, I don't know. But that bearish bar there, there's going to be some shorts in there. So the way this is ticked down, I think it's going to do its damnedest to break above there. Now, whether it does remains to be seen. But There is a second entry short there. There is. That bull bar's triggered. Trouble is, it's a bit congested on here, so I wouldn't take it, but it does look like it's going to drop. I don't think it's going to get up. I can't remember how to move that. You on about that? Yeah. Yeah. See, if you took that one, trigger just stopped you out. So I'm almost curious. I think it will drop down. The trouble is, I never say never, and it because sometimes you get that focus with this has to come down short that you lose track that it may not, because there's always that possibility. There's enough buyers, you know, it might not come down. But what I will say is, if we can get above there, we're bound to take out some short stops, and here as well. Unless it's going sideways, it may not before it drops, but channel with a break. Come on. Are we above that one? Okay, not quite, nearly. A couple of ticks. That's what I mean. I always look for these areas because we've got a channel here with a break. I wouldn't take a short there because we haven't made a new high from this. So we've taken out stops there. If we can get above there, that should give it a bit of momentum to pick up these orders at around about 82. Now, how nice is this starting to look on here? Clear second entry short. 2 attempts to push higher. I'm not trading this at the moment. I've just got it set to sim. I'm just kind of getting a feel for it. We've got to get above this for me. Leg and a leg. They just drop. We kind of know what's going on, don't we? But it really tried. I got to say, I don't think it's going to work now. Yeah, Thomas Wade's looking at the same thing, looking at 2 legs up and then a drop. But sometimes, if it's that obvious what's going to happen, a lot of the times it'll just jump in. Because if traders are thinking this thing just it's not getting up, but they expect a leg down, you don't know whether traders are just going to decide to just short it, and sometimes it just never gets up. It's having a go. Let me just get an order up here just in case.
Order submitted.
Okay, that's done exactly what I wanted it to do. So let's see if this triggers and takes out those. Another tick would be nice. Looking for a short now. Channel down. 2 attempts to go higher. Perfect. So let's see now if there's enough sellers. I could be completely wrong. It may go up, but it's not a huge bar. That's the good thing. Okay. See how this forms. 9 ticks. It's not a huge risk.
Order submitted.
Order filled.
Okay. Let's see how our luck's like. I'm going to take that down a little further. Hopefully it'll work. I prefer that a little bit more bearish, but it went where I expected it to go. We've had this leg down. We've had 2 clear legs up. It's not a huge risk. Yeah, it looks like it's going to take me out here. Yeah, never. It's a second entry short, that's for certain. 2 clear legs up. Hopefully, if we can get down, there'll be stops there, and then it should just launch, hopefully. Fingers crossed. I like to get out before the bottom, so it's not pushing down as strong as I'd have liked, to be honest with you. It's still going a bit sideways. What I will say is that bull bar there triggered. We'll see. It's not a huge risk. 79, so it's 2.5 point risk. That's not too bad under the grand scheme of things, to be honest with you. I can deal with it. Trouble is, it's starting to stack a little bit. I might get out of this. It's really stacking up now. Let's just leave it. It's not a huge risk. Yeah, I've seen Mac take worse bars than that, to be honest with you, and it is 2 legs. You're going to have balls trapped there, but just don't like the way it's starting to stack up a little bit. Yeah,
Target
it's
filled.
Order
stacking
filled.
a bit. Okay, so I am out, I think. Yeah. Lower high is a better option. Going to say the closer it gets to there, the more you think you're bound to get stopped out. But see if we get a lower high. It looks like it's coming down now. Once it gets below there, it'll be game over. See if we can get a lower high. Closer it gets to that, you've got to think it's going to eat through that. I mean, look how nice that looks on that range bar. 2 clear legs up. you took that higher low with all this, you would have to be concerned that was going to come below there. Okay, should come down a bit easier now. That's what I thought. Should have just left it. Two nice legs up. Just seem to stack a bit, which tends to give you a little bit of lack of confidence. But when they do work, they tend to do really well, those. So, where did I put mine? Down here somewhere around about there. So it would have worked and would have worked well. But there you go. Hmm. I wonder. Yeah, I wish I'd left that now. I like the context. You know, I think part of the reason why I got out of it, it's just I was looking on Dan's Discord, and context, some people didn't like it. Someone said shame. I don't know. I liked it. I actually think the context is lovely. We got a clear move down, clear 2 legs up. What I like about it, it's always important for me if we're trapping bowls. So big strong bar, then when that triggers up like that, usually that comes down. But the fact that it went sideways a bit, it's a tough one. You don't know whether buyers are really trying to hold on to this position and push it higher. It went sideways for another 2 bars, and the trouble is then you start asking yourself the question, have I got it wrong, and should I get out? You know, break even, I think, is a good option from time to time. The good thing about break even or a tick is you're guaranteed to not lose anything if you think you got it wrong. But when we had that bar, if you take it along there and that bar comes back and closes there, you'd have to start thinking, maybe I've made a... and then once it started to go, as soon as it hit below there, you could see it had that drop, which is exactly what I expected, which is why I didn't leave me profit at 3 points. I brought it down here because, as I say, you know, those trades usually work well. Now, my gut feeling is if they're decent enough, you'll at least get another leg out of them. That leg wasn't quite as long as I expected it, and that may have something to do with how bearish that bar. If that bar came down maybe another 3 or 4 ticks, I think more people would trade that than short, and then that would push that maybe closer to the measured move. But maybe we're coming down here and have another go. It still may come down. It's hard to say, but if that would have just had a little bit more strength to it, I think more people would have shorted it, and then maybe traders may have jumped out of this or closed it, and it may have had that little bit more oomph, so to speak. But it's not a terrible day today. EMA is relatively low, which is always a good thing. The market is not so much choppy. It's flowing quite well. Not a huge amount of movement. That one I wish I'd have taken. Channel up with a break. Fell break out of there. That's the only one I wish I'd have taken. That clearly would have worked. Anything else? Not sure at the moment, really. I don't think there's much else I would have taken. That one that I got into clearly did work in the end. So maybe sometimes if you like your context, you should just, you know, stick to your guns and just let it flow. It did eventually work. I think sometimes if it's a good enough setup, sometimes it does come back. You do take some heat. See, unfortunately, when Mac shows us, you know, trades he's marked, he shows you the end result. He doesn't show you, and it doesn't sort of put over what it experiences to sit through that heat. You know, the thing is, as a trader, especially what I consider myself as still relatively inexperienced, I've only been trading for 5 years. But, you know, price goes into profit straight away. It's a nice feeling. As soon as it starts to come into the red, straight away, you can feel that little change inside you. And that little sort of seed of doubt, which kind of sits there and manifests itself. Now, you know, the simple fact of the matter is price rarely just shoots off in your favor like we all kind of hope it does. It certainly does sometimes. But unfortunately, you do have to sit through a little bit of heat, and it, you know, it can feel a little uncomfortable from time to time, but it's kind of the nature of the business, really. You can't really avoid it. You know, that little bit of heat sometimes, but I think it's probably safe to say that if you do get out because something, you know, it doesn't feel right, or the little bit of heat, I think if you stayed into a trade, you'd be in a lot better of a financial position. I think I would anyway. Way more trades that I get out of for break even or a tick go on to win. Now, obviously, there are some that won't, and I might have got the decision right, but I think all in all, I'd have been much better just letting trades play out. But unfortunately, until you can get used to, you know, what it feels like. As I say, as I mentioned earlier, you know, I think a lot of it is to do with risk. You know, if I'm risking 100 and it wasn't a huge risk, that 125, but if you're risking $12.50, there's no way I'd have got out of that. You'd have just let it go. So that tells me that it's more about maybe I'm risking too much. But there you go. I think I'm going to knock it on the head there, actually. I'm a bit tired today. I didn't have a great night's sleep last night. So I'm going to leave you folks to it. So I've done 2 hours and 20 minutes on stream and about an hour before. So I'll leave you guys to it. So remember, I won't be around this Friday and Monday. I got a long weekend away. But where are we? Tuesday day. So I'll be back tomorrow and Thursday, and then next Tuesday. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. Best of luck. I hope you get a setup and a trade. Otherwise, have a great evening. Stay safe. And I'll be back tomorrow and we'll catch up and do it all again. Bye for now.